Here we go. Going live. And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because I needed an excuse to try beer. It's a long-running thing. A part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, pretty much everywhere. You can find me under that name. That's Shujin. Hi. I'll go ahead and introduce you to the crew for the time being. Midwest of the U.S., Brigid, good evening.
Good evening.
Off onto the right-hand coast of North America, UnrenownedTech, hi.
I am not. Who said that? That's a dirty rumor. I have never done that before.
Don't worry about it. We'll go ahead and we'll test you later. Find out.
I on caffeine.
And over the pond, over to Paris, France. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning.
So, like I was saying, testing out beers, because I've been testing out beers. So last week, didn't really turn out so good. So this week we may end up with something worthwhile. If you join us live, by the way, you can actually help participate in all of this and help me decide what to try out. Like, for instance, the folks who are over in the live chat right now. So that would be Stephanie, good morning. Phyllis, good evening. And a couple of other folks that are there that are doing double duty right now, and you're screwing me up because I don't know who to say hi to at this point. Hi, guys. Okay.
You can say hi to us again. You know, that's just a friendly neighborly thing to do. Hi, neighbor.
Hi, neighbor.
Hi. Diddly-do.
Don't. Okay, so what have we got? All right, so we've got from the Glass Collection, Rochester Farian Scotch Ale. It's pretty nice from down this.
It's only a Scotch ale if it has a rig in it.
I'm sorry, if it has a what?
It's only a Scotch ale if it has a real Scotch egg in it.
No.
Let's see. Krabby's Original Alcoholic Ginger Beer.
I really think you should try that one.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, we'll keep that on the side. Okay, now over to the cans. Oh God, yes, the German Reich. Okay, Reissdorf. I'm sorry. I look at Dorf and all I can think is, am I supposed to be golfing with? Is it Reisdorf?
Sounds like Reichdorf.
Reichdorf. Whatever.
Yeah, it's just Reichdorf.
Do you have to salute it before opening it?
Only if you're trying to take the third right on the street. Let's see. Bard's Beer. Truly gluten-free.
What?
Contains no wheat, barley, rye, or oats.
Yeah, that's the one that my SO drinks.
Yeah, I don't know. And finally, hauling up the rear is, Schwarzbier.
Be the Schwartz be with you.
Proudly brewed, I can talk, since 1878. Genesee specialty. I chose everything this week, previous, for these weeks, purely by looks. So I have no idea what any of this stuff is like. I just went through and I just said, oh, that looks interesting. That looks kind of cool. Okay, let's see what we want to try out. So
you'd have fun in the beer store by me.
Okay, as a nerdy, geeky gamer girl who likes MMORPGs, I'm gonna have to go with the bards because bards are cool.
With the bard, you know what? Okay, we'll do.
Well, you were talking about music before the show.
That's true.
Between the two
That's
of you.
true too.
That's true.
I mean, you kind of locked it in. You'll have to try the ginger beer next show.
Yeah.
Or who knows? If you pay attention to the show next week and join us, you could have voted. And if you had bribed us over on Patreon, you could bribe me to what to try next, or at the very least have good things happen with the horrible scopes. That's not going to help ever. It just doesn't work that way. Don't worry about it.
Well, if he
Alright,
I didn't
donated
see any.
enough money, he might actually be able to afford some real beer.
I actually didn't see any recommendations come up in the chat.
No,
So
no, which means that
chat's kind of slow tonight.
that's okay. That's okay. We slow, fast doesn't matter. They're not paying us money, doesn't matter. They're getting what they paid for, so screw them. It's all fine. Okay, so
Yeah, just remember, if you want us to be more professional, we're not paid to be professionals because we're not paid.
yeah, that's true. So there you go, Bard's beer. I don't.
Did you just see what popped up in Felis?
Yeah. Now I need to fix a hole in the wall, and the neighbor thinks I'm shooting at him.
Okay.
That was after I told Felis to try a cork because she was having tummy trouble.
Oh.
Well,
If the cork worked
there's stuff. There's stuff.
temporarily.
So we'll
Dear.
we'll deal with all that a little bit later. Anyway, so let me get things rolling. We'll get to let me get through the opening. We'll do the horrible scopes. Give you the update on what's going on with Rafe. You know what? Since I just mentioned it, screw it. I'll just handle that right now. There's no information on Rafe at the moment. Nothing has changed. We've still got everybody who's trying to see what can be done for him, but at the moment I have no new information, which, as we know full well, double-edged sword. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but it's still no new information. So as the recording of tonight's show, it has now been 8 years, 9 months, 29 days since Rafe was unjustly incarcerated for thought crimes. Our hopes and thoughts are still with you and your family. We're still waiting. So let me go ahead and get things rolling over here for you. So while I break open Bard's beer, let's see how it turns out. So with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. Responsibility. Wow, man, the concept of responsibility, excuse me, is a daunting one, to put it mildly. It's what you do when people are not watching over your shoulder. It's how you behave without anybody needing to tell you what to do. And we know full well that there are a number of ways that this plays out. And we've talked on many an occasion about how responsibility without an overseer is kind of what humanism is all about. Now, as a humanist, I would like my fellow human to have as little strife as possible, as little pain, as little unwellness as possible, with as much, with as much fulfillment as possible. And the funny part of it is, isn't that really what we want for our kids? Generally speaking. Yes, there are the occasional outliers, unfortunately. But generally speaking, isn't that what we want for our kids? The ones who are eventually going to take over for us when all is said and done, because statistically speaking, we're going to die before them. And as some have said, that's the way that it should be. I guess. But the responsibilities that we have to each other, some people don't really recognize exactly what that is. In times like this that we've gone through over the last year plus in America and in Canada and in good portions of Europe, the responsibility that we have for each other, there are too damned many people who simply don't recognize that. They don't see it. They simply cannot conceptualize that doing something as simple as, well, of course, stupid thing is wrapped around something else over here. Sure. Wearing a goddamn piece of cloth over your face actually qualifies as being responsible, as being a good citizen to the people around you. It's got nothing to do with how many 9mm bullets can you put out in the air in 3 seconds. got nothing to do with how much freeze-dried food you can buy and keep in a bucket for 20 years. It's got nothing to do with how many people can you hurt around you. The responsibility that we have as humans speaks so loud about who we are supposed to be as a society, as a species. We've talked so damn many times about the idea of empathy being something that is hardwired in so many different animal classifications. Sympathy and empathy that can come from birds, come from rats. The mammalian animal known as human is one that, for whatever strange, twisted reason, has learned over the eons to communicate with each other, to be able to help each other, to be able to heal each other. And yet, over the last few hundred years, it's delved harder and harder into how to harm each other, how to kill each other, how to cause more suffering. And that is not the responsible way. I can't change society at large. No one of us can. But our responsibility is to teach those coming up that that is not necessarily the way it should be. And to give them the chance to dictate how society should play out. I feel pretty proud of myself. I actually ended with the timer this time instead of going over time. It's episode 358 on the docket, Your Honor. It is break time. We've done week after week after week after week of dealing with stuff that's in the news, stuff that's, hot button items, and really, I want to say, at the risk of sounding incredibly vain, intellectually rigorous questioning as to what's going on around us. And by that, I mean, it's been stuff that's been troubling, stuff that's been really hard pressing on our psyche. We need kind of a week off, and instead of just doing, no show, probably a good idea to just go ahead and talk about some stuff that is keeping us sane. It doesn't necessarily have to be a hobby. It doesn't have to be anything grandiose, but, an opportunity to just kind of kick back and go, yeah, I find this funny, and this has actually been keeping me alive. That's perfectly fine to go with. So the bards, which I did not pour out ahead of time, is it's Zima Clear.
Huh.
That's curious. Okay.
Don't forget, it's missing a lot of things that are in standard beers.
That's true.
Well, that's true.
That's true. So
And it has to. For people who have severe food allergies or sensitivities that can't drink regular beer, that's one of the few choices on the market that they can have. I mean, there's a couple other brands that also do a wheat-free and so on.
Okay. So it's I was listening to some of the older shows of ours, and one of them that came up was when I was showing up one of the beers before, and Joey was on with us at the time, who is obviously, as folks understand, he's got stuff that he's doing right now, so we know that he's around. It's just a matter that he's busy otherwise. And I'll fill you in on Dalan in a second, but Joey, we had commented about how the coloring of whatever the beer was at the time, how it was just like, I had asked, is it going to come out the same color as it's going in? And Joe's just like, if it comes out looking that color, you are severely dehydrated and you need to go into a hospital. So I guess it does smell like beer. So, I mean, that in and of itself is a good selling point straight away. So
L'chaim.
yeah, that's the one I was looking for. Lime, skull, Kumpai. That's the one I was trying to remember.
Bonsai!
No, that's a very different.
Mr. Miyagi said.
Okay. It's beer, but it does not have quite as it is not the bitter that I would typically associate with, the Budweisers and the stuff like that. Although it does kind of have a very close taste to it, to like the Budweisers. Okay.
And that's just one of their flavors that you have there.
Okay.
Bard's makes several, if I remember correctly.
Being that right now it's just kind of it's beer. I'm yet again set it set it aside, sip along, see how it changes as it warms up, because it's sort of fresh out of the refrigerator. So we'll see.
Now remember, this is the kind of beer that somebody who's hasn't been able to have a beer in a long time because of their food allergies is going to be like liquid ambrosia.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. And for somebody that would be very much of the I want a beer without killing my insides. Okay, I can right off the bat, taste wise, totally get it. So, all right, we'll see how that plays out about that.
Does it do anything to increase your charisma? We're like +5?
Or like +2.
Hey, Google, roll 3d6.
You rolled 1, 3, and 1 for a total of 5.
Am I good or what?
Okay.
I called +5.
Okay.
By the way, in 5th edition, Bard inspiration, when a bardic inspiration is given to somebody, whether they give it to themselves or somebody else, it's a 1d4 until they level up, then it's a 1d6, then it's a 1d8.
I hate you people.
You're welcome.
I hate
You are very welcome. Start talking about D&D in front of a D&D nerd.
Fair
Or
enough.
the RPG girl.
There is that. So let's
We doing horoscopal
yeah,
scope?
we're gonna do the horrible scopes. Now, I want you guys to know that there is one in here that yeah, we may have a little bit of a problem. So we'll deal with that as it comes. Don't worry, it's nothing bad unless you speak French. Hi, Joseph. We'll see how this plays out.
Wait, which
Doesn't get that
one has the French in it? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4th place?
So with that in mind, we'll kind of roll the bones on this one because I don't even remember which one that is at this point. So,
Oh, Aquarius.
oh,
Yeah, Joseph needs to do Aquarius. We have to have the proper accent.
And that's the one that I got. Okay, so
you
Forget the accent.
you know what? So he'll read Gemini, and I'll do Cancer Moonchild. We'll just swap our order so that way we don't screw it up.
okay, fine. So, folks, those of you that have been waiting for it, congratulations, you made it. It is time
Got
for
that
the
joke, you
horrible
go
scopes.
What? No, wait a second. I need a second to decode this.
Yeah, I know you've got time. Don't worry. You'll
That's
have.
not French. Anybody can say that.
We'll come.
I can
We'll
butcher it.
get to it. We'll get to it.
Remember, you're after Brigid tonight.
We'll get to it.
Oh, let's roll the dice. Let's start in regular order, and just whoever gets it gets it.
Yeah.
No, because it's going to be me. You do it, damn it.
We'll get to it. So, at this point, it is time for the horrible scopes. Those of you that know what your astrological signs are, you people need to get a life. Those of you that don't know, copy off of somebody else's homework because you've been doing that all your life to get around to it all. Don't worry about it. It's all fine. Aries.
Okay, Google, roll 1d12.
Shut up. Aries, speaking of which, Aries, remember when you were given the award for perfect attendance at the end of high school? You never missed a day in 12 years, never late to class, never missed a class? Yeah, watch this. Hey, everybody! Aries had a perfect attendance record through high school graduation. See, nobody cares. You're allowed to miss a day here and there. Chill out already.
I feel called out now.
You're welcome.
Taurus. Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. Hell, every day should be Hawaiian Shirt Day when you work from home and telecommute. In your case, Taurus, you'll need to be mindful of your color blindness. Pick the wrong shirt, and the chroma key will make you look like the weatherman on KJJC TV out of Great Falls, Montana. You know, a floating head and hands and no body.
Yeah, I actually had to go looking for an independent television. There are not very many independent television stations out in the great state of Montana.
Go ahead, Joseph. You know you want it.
Okay, where are we?
Gemini.
Gemini, sorry. Okay, being a parent these days isn't easy, but imagine what it might have been like back in the medieval days. Oh, that's kids trying to get to sleep, complaining that they hear monsters under the bed might have actually been right. These days, you could actually give a kid a flashlight for protection, not a wooden dagger. And this is why you shouldn't have kids. Your precious monster collection keeps escaping. You need to be more responsible.
Cancer Moonchild. The days are longer, the weather is nice, and the car passed inspection. Time to gas up, pick a direction, and just drive. Hop on the highway. Wait about 45 minutes, then take the next exit and turn left. Go explore some town you've never been to before. And before you get worried you'll really be lost, just remember, worst case scenario, you'll end up facing an ocean. How lost could you possibly get?
Yeah, that was the way I described it to my wife when we went to Japan and we went on the rail exploring on our own. And I told her, I mean, worst case, you know, we end up seeing water. I mean, how lost could we get? It's an island. That didn't go over very well with the rest of the family, but, you know, whatever. It's all... I'm back, so, you know, it doesn't much matter. And Tech, yeah, exactly. So, Leo, summer is right around the corner, so it's time to plan for it. This year is going to be better than the summer of '84. You remember that summer, right? Your parents told you to put the foil-wrapped potatoes on the barbecue and you accidentally put on the Capri Sun pouches because they were both shiny. That was 37 years ago. Get over yourself. Nobody except you remembers it. And for the record, Dalan and I have both agreed that we need to test this out and find out because, remember, the only difference between screwing around and science is writing shit down. So we need a clipboard.
Yeah. Virgo. You need something new in your life this week. How about taking up astrophotography? Yeah, you should really do it with a good quality SLR camera. But you've got a spare smartphone. You could still use it. Just point it at the sky, have it record a 10-second picture over and over again, and voila! You have a bunch of crappy pictures of black. Go buy a cheap secondhand SLR and do it right this time.
As somebody that actually bought a digital SLR specifically to do astro, yeah. Joseph, Libra.
Okay. We finally uncovered your first job. It's 1979 and you're tasked with a new recruiting campaign for the United States Navy. Your idea? Film a music video on a ship. So you got a film crew, time on the frigate USS Reasoner. Does that exist?
Yes.
And book the village people to film the video for in the Navy. The recruitment material from that went nowhere, and they instead went with Anchors Away, a 73-year-old song instead. Even with the new cultural hotness, you're still way outdated.
That is true. I did actual goddamned research.
Scorpio! The worst game on the Steam marketplace is named University Tycoon 2019. It was originally released in the middle of 2018. The creators said, quote, "With the help from beta testers, the game will be out of early access in roughly 5 weeks," unquote. Costs $20 USD. And the most common sentiment in the comments is, "I want my money back." Remember, no matter how badly you think you are doing in life, you are still not this bad.
Again, actual research was done for this. No, I am not putting a link to that damn game in the show notes. Don't bother. Sagittarius. You have failed upward in life so hard, people are wondering if you've perfected anti-gravity. When they make a biopic of your life, they're going to describe you as a cross between the Mule from Isaac Asimov's Foundation series and President Ford. And this time, Nicolas Cage is not taking the part.
Ouch.
Oh, okay, just for people like me, who has not only read the entire Foundation series, but read the entire series like 20, 25 times. I've lost count. I've read it so many times. Do you remember how the mule got his name? Okay. Just you kind of gave a half-assed compliment is why.
Well, I'm just saying, if it's so bad that Nicolas Cage won't do it, that's bad.
I'll do it.
I'm just saying. So
Capricorn. Your socks don't match, but that's okay. We're proud that you were able to dress yourself fully today. Means you're feeling better and motivated. Tomorrow, you could wear only left socks, or one fishnet thigh high and one bobby sock. The choices are up to you.
Yeah, I don't recommend wearing both of them at the same time.
unless that's your fetish.
No.
No, we're not kinky shaming while we're here.
No. It's a okay, guys. Those of you that have never worn fishnets before, you have no idea how much that tears up the bottoms of your feet in high heels.
Oh, sticks in your beard too.
Okay, I wasn't gonna go ahead. Go ahead and do that.
Aquarius, in your quest to come across as better educated, might we suggest you take elocution lessons, but in languages other than English? Sure, you can lay a blue stream as good as any Northampton fisherman or Navy squaddy, but being able to say "Nam de yuda popandi babo de la mare de slopri de conhead dunsel dunsi miri" would sound a lot better if you actually spoke French. Oh Jesus! Nom de Dieu de porta de bonne de mer de putain de mer de saloperie de connard enculé de ta mère. Voilà.
It's like wiping your ass with silk.
Sometimes you need a Frenchman. Pisces, you are a natural liar. And for a creative mind like yours, it's no wonder you tend to write science fiction. After all, what is such a novel concept a lie that people want to believe could be real one day? So keep up the good work, and remember, polygraph tests are not legal in a court of law.
Again, real research done on this one.
Yep. Unfortunately, polygraphs may be used as a requirement before taking certain government positions.
Not
except in politics.
Not in a court of law, and that's the important part. So,
but the U.S. Department of Defense, different branches actually make it a requirement. If you can't pass one of their polygraphs, you can't have the job.
yeah, well, the DoD once upon a time was investigating whether or not people could be killed with the power of them. No, that was the CIA. I'm sorry, take that back. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. So those are your horrible scopes for this week. Those of you that enjoyed them,
horrible scope today.
Those of you that enjoyed them, congratulations. You got more than what you paid for, which was nothing. Those of you that didn't pay for it, which is all of you, you got what you paid for. And remember, no backsies. And if you pay for them next time, maybe I'll be nicer. The stars will be nicer to you, maybe. Probably not.
And if I take an extract from the show,
Mhm.
I'm going to have a new ringtone.
Okay. Felis in chat just said 3/4 of you guys most likely would not wear fishnets. If you do, I want pictures. Felis, I have two things to say. I have worn things I will not admit to on the show. And number two, I am ashamed at what I've done for a Klondike bar.
I will tell this, and I've stated this publicly several times. Once upon a time, oh God, here it is in my head. Once upon a time, bum, 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 bum. I wish. Okay, once upon a time ago, for Halloween one year, when my wife and I were trying to figure out what we were going to do, I scored a set of, what were they, 5 3/4 inch stiletto heels with ankle strap that fit my feet because I wanted to do, and I had the beard, and you know, did I have the full beard at the time? I don't remember if I still did or if I just had the Van Dyke at the time. Yes, I'm trying to see what happens if I just let the whole thing grow back out again. I was going to be trying out the whole Ladies' Night Bud Light commercial kind of thing. For those of you that don't remember, a bunch of guys got together, full scraggly beard and whatnot. They got dressed in you know, nice dresses and whatnot, went into the bar in order to take advantage of the Ladies' Night beer pricing.
Yep. It was a hilarious commercial.
Which I still have those shoes because, I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with them. And, well, as far as you trying on fishnets, I had a wonderful wife who explained to me why she did not wear them very often. For exactly that reason. Keep that in mind.
Very uncomfortable. I mean, I've worn them once back when I was younger, and yeah, that was enough for me to decide I didn't like them.
Yeah.
You know, but back then I was that person who would dress up like a Playboy bunny for Halloween and not give a shit.
4 words.
Well, I
Rocky
couldn't get
Horror
away with it
Picture
now,
Show.
but you know, when I was like, you know, 22, 23, I could get away with it.
Well, you could still get away with it. It's just a question of whether or not you care.
Oh, so could I.
Yeah.
Felis, nobody's going to send you the pictures because what happens on the internet never leaves the internet, and we don't want certain things. Unlike our children, we have the privilege of having some of those memories fade away.
Well,
And-
you've seen the picture of me.
I wish I
wearing
had
that.
pictures back then because I used to be actually kind of hot when I was younger.
I think I've shown you guys the picture of me wearing stilettos.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Another time.
Possibly.
Nope.
But once I did wear fishnets, but just as a kind of discreet accessory thing. I'd dress up normally, but all you'd see of the fishnet, it was actually fishnet socks, and I wore that with dress shoes. So
I'll
you'd
never
see
wear a thong again.
a normal pant leg, a normal dress shoe, and then like what the fuck fishnet.
Because you could get away with it.
Yeah, just kind of.
Thongs are just not comfortable. Ugh.
No.
I just wanted to see if people were.
There were some people that, some women that I met that actually find them to be comfortable. I think it takes, everything just has to line up properly for that to be perfect. Hey, Beth, what's up?
Hi! I can't believe I just did that. That is very much not me.
By the way,
Yeah.
Beth, I feel bad for you because Microsoft just bought out Nuance, the makers of Dragon Naturally Speaking. So I wouldn't run an update on that software anytime soon
You've
in my blue screen of death.
Is Skype still working?
I don't know. I don't know.
Microsoft is going to sunset Skype. They want Microsoft Teams to be the be-all, end-all.
God damn it.
Yeah, Microsoft is going after Discord too.
Yeah,
What?
they're trying to buy out Discord.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's,
And it looks like Discord may actually sell.
let's all right.
I'm gonna
Really
make my own platform.
with blackjack and hookers. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're not looking to. Microsoft's
okay,
not
Tom.
looking to buy Discord to shut it down. For all I could tell from the various reports and journals and news articles, is that Microsoft wants to make Discord the voice backbone of the Xbox network.
All right.
And they've got a lot of subscribers, so I mean that's profitable for them.
There is something that my wife told me a long time ago. Well, obviously, because I mean, she was alive then. So when she was an account manager for the outsourcing phone company that we worked for at the time, which was, you know what, screw it, I don't care. It was SoftBank Services Group or Upgrade Corporation of America or UCANL or whatever the hell name they were going by at that point. She told me a truism. I mean, 2 truisms. 3. One of which was document, which still true to
Yep.
this day.
Absolutely.
Item number 2, which is cleavage is an art form all unto itself.
I
Again,
agree 120%.
still true. But the third, and
Especially when you don't have breasts.
yeah, they.
Hey, I work with what I have, okay?
Yeah, I do too, and I really don't. Okay, the last item was. The last item was, and this one has pissed me off to no end for literal decades. Microsoft does not do anything that does not ultimately get Microsoft more money.
Right.
Now, I want
Yeah,
you to think
that's-
about this one. There are a number of products and services that Microsoft has intentionally bought up just so that A, nobody else can have it or use it, and B, they can roll the technology into stuff they already own, or conversely, what was the term that's typically used? Oh, right, kill it.
Yeah. Or just slap their name on it.
Of course,
But how
$10
many-
billion.
How many products
That's a-
bought out? How many products bought out by Microsoft still exist today?
There are very few.
Yeah.
And one of them that I very specifically remember was a
Microsoft Net Meeting.
God.
okay. There was that. The 2 that I specifically remember, there was a. I forget if it was a MIDI or a mod sound editor suite that somebody had put out. I think it was Goldwave. I could be wrong. I don't remember which name it was. But this one goes back to the days of like the Amiga platform. Give you an idea. And they wanted it so that they could supposedly roll it into their other existing programs and the features. And no, they just took it and they shelved it. And nothing ever happened with it. The other one, very specifically and clearly, Internet Explorer. Before it was Internet Explorer,
Mm-hmm.
it was Mosaic.
Yep. I remember using it.
Mosaic was a free product. It was glorious. It was exactly what was wanted. It was not bloatware or integrated into anything. And then came Windows 98. And they said, let's go ahead and insert this into every aspect of the operating system. The same way that some people might remember the old cartoon from back when, what was it? U.S. Steel was the overarching octopus with tentacles into everything.
It ended up being integrated, making cross calls, things like that, to such a point, and it actually had some aspects of it that were dependencies for other aspects of Windows that if you tried to remove it, it actually broke Windows.
Yep.
And that was partially purposeful architecture to prevent removal.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it was also purposeful to make it do the things that they wanted to do the way they wanted it to do it. Because don't forget, there's the right way, there's the wrong way, there's the Microsoft way, and then there's pretty much damn near everything else. Yeah, but I've used Teams, and I think Skype going away is not a bad thing in terms of when dealing with Teams, for the simple reason that the capabilities of Skype is all in Teams, and I think Teams does it better. Case in point, you can do remote sessions where if you have Skype and I have Skype, both for business versions, and you're having a problem, you can share your screen with me, and then I can request control of your mouse and keyboard temporarily as long as the session's live. You can also do it in Teams. Now, in Teams, they learned some of the few lessons. Like in Skype, if you move the mouse and I move the mouse, we're moving the same cursor. In Teams, there's a cursor with your icon on it and a cursor with my icon on it. And so there's now actually two cursors on the screen. So if you accidentally move your mouse, you don't screw up what I'm doing. Keyboard interface, there's still only one. So if you type and I type at the same time, it'll screw it up. But the problem wasn't so much with the keyboard. It was that people kept moving the mouse when they were telling people, hey, take your hands off the mouse so I can help you fix what you broke. The other thing is overhead. I noticed that in terms of resource usage, when I was doing a Skype session where I was trying to fix somebody else's problem, the amount of resources that was getting sent over the network was higher than what was going through Teams for the same damn thing. So depending on your network, you could actually see a delay of 3 to 5 seconds before that, when you move the mouse on your end and you see their cursor move coming back on your end as well, versus Teams having a half second, 1 second delay instead of 5 is exponentially better.
Yeah.
So they did learn a few things.
Joseph.
Yeah, just that kind of delay is inexcusable in these days. And I mean, when you think about what's actually going on under the hood, it's inexcusable.
And people kind of forget that, we're asking a lot more of the computers now than we ever have before. When we all started with computers, well, at least Shujin and I, it was text on screen.
Yep.
And it took time for certain applications to load and things like that, because everything, some things compiled on demand, other things had to make memory calls, perform a calculation or whatever, and then process that and then move on to the next thing and do it in series, rather than doing parallel processing, because for a while there that didn't even exist. And now we ask our computers to render things in 4K resolution.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. They offer the option. So, what, Joseph, you were saying?
Yeah, you made a reference. You said that you made a reference like as if you were old school, but I think you're forgetting my age too.
I don't know your age. That's why I wasn't.
Yeah, I just turned 50.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're familiar with it too, and I of course Brigid is 27 again, so I have no idea what she's used to.
She's
Hey,
around 27.
27, 28. I don't want to go too high, you know.
Well, I mean,
Just kind of guesstimating here.
to use the old joke, around 27, but not going to tell you how many times around 27 it's been.
But
anyway,
the point is that I've met people who, are like 10 years my senior that have forgotten where we've come from. It's one thing when my son doesn't understand why a computer is running so slow. He doesn't understand, he used to not understand why, it doesn't just work until I started teaching him things about computers, where we come from, how we developed over time and changed them over time, and how they evolved. And so every time I start my computer and my computer starts up really fast, I make sure to mentally go, damn, that's quick. Every single time.
Yeah.
So that I don't forget, because I have met so many people that their computer takes 20 seconds to start and they're like, oh God, this thing's so slow. I was like, what are you talking about? That was faster than some cell phones.
Yeah, let's call it the way that it is.
Hey, 1440 baud. Jeez.
Yeah. Let's call it what
Yeah, I
it is.
remember those days too.
The computers these days have gone from computers over the years have gone from the magic black box to we know how to make the magic black box do what we want it to do, to yet again becoming the magic black box.
I wanted to do it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's the magic black box isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. Make it fix it.
No, it isn't doing what I want it to do. Even if what quote unquote what I want it to do isn't even in the fucking.
It's not reading my mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yet.
I thought. I've said before that I thought the computer age. I'm going, yeah, damn. With all the technology, we're all going to become more intelligent and more curious, and actually, the opposite has happened.
Yeah, we will see. So okay. So it's fair to say that having good old-fashioned bitch sessions is definitely one way to keep ourselves sane these days. And it's got nothing to do with anything that's in the news these days. It's just, get off my lawnism? I know. What are you gonna do?
That should be an ism if it isn't.
Yeah. You know what, Joseph? You said that you're going to need a new ringtone. Here, sample this for later.
So satisfying.
Yes.
I miss not being able to slam the phone down on people.
Yes. By the way,
Oh, there's a comedian who makes a joke about that in the dry bar comedy system, which I have mixed feelings about because of the nature of how they started and all that. But there is a comedian there, and oh crap, what's his name?
doesn't matter. Figure it out later.
I'll figure it out later. But he talks about people are in their 20s, and he talks about how they're the dumbest people on the planet, and at the same time, while remembering that the things he's talking about makes them dumb, he himself does from time to time. So he makes sure to point that out too, like the whole thing with the phones and everything. So he's not just he's an actual comedian. He's doing real comedy where he remembers to make fun of himself, not just one particular group, and knocks him out. But he talks about a few things, and one of them is the phone. He talks about phones, he talks about records, he talks about a bunch of things, and they're great.
Yeah.
I'll put the link up once I figure out who it was.
Okay. And because I'm doing the whole get off my lawnism for a second, by the way, I still would love to. Okay. Yes, I do still have my Star Trek communicator Bluetooth speaker phone thing. Leave me alone.
Brad Upton.
I love that thing. But I know that they were selling at one point these old handsets with a Bluetooth receiver in it, so you could actually just without the curly Q on it, literally pick up a phone and put it to your head. What I wanted to point out to folks is these are old school. These are hardwired. These are not modular. You can't just take these apart.
Oh yeah.
But the thing about these that I actually miss is that if you unscrew the top one for your ear, this is the one where you could, have a little bit of power, set up a little bit of, eavesdropping equipment. Not that anybody would ever do that, because that would be wrong.
The neatest thing I ever saw somebody do back in the day with one of those was that they actually melted a hole through the plastic with a soldering iron and installed a tiny little light bulb. I forget what kind it was.
Okay.
And it was just, it was so, one of those itty bitty ones. And there was just enough power that when the phone rang, that little bulb would light up a little bit. Wasn't quite practical unless you were like deaf or something, but even then you'd have to be looking right at it because it doesn't, it wasn't a flash bulb or something. But it was still kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, your parents didn't chew you out for it? And he goes, oh, I got my dad's belt. But they don't know how to take it apart.
Now, there's a small problem with that. And you remember Star Trek 2, you need to know why things work on a starship.
See, the kid was smart. He knew how things worked. I didn't.
No, not this part. Back in the day, landlines used, if memory serves, 90 volts, specifically pulsed, in order to ring the phone. And if memory serves, that's the way it still is to this day. Now, I don't remember if that's right or not, because, mechanical stuff. The point I was going to go for was, when the phone company would send down the ring to the line, it's expecting a certain amount of current draw. And that translated to the number of phones that were attached to that circuit. And if you had more phones attached to that circuit than they officially knew about, they would bill you for having more phones attached. Once upon a time ago. So if it was grabbing more current in order to even power that little light bulb, I'm pretty sure they probably ended up getting a little bit of a questioning from the phone company local. Like I said,
even though that this occurred like in the late 80s.
I don't remember.
I wasn't familiar with phone companies.
I don't remember when the deregulation happened with all that part, but like I said, you need to know why things work sometimes. And I'm one of those people that understands why these things happen. I'm also one of the people that understands what Captain Crunch was all about back in the day, but we're not going to freak out about that now, are we?
Nope.
There are a couple people who know exactly what I'm
I
referencing.
got the joke.
Thank you.
Oh, Captain Crunch, not Captain Kangaroo.
No.
Okay, what am I missing about Captain Crunch besides crunch berries and peanut butter?
The whistle.
Crunch?
Yep.
The whistle that came in the box.
Oh, yeah.
Back when you could freak a phone system with a whistle.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it was
That's
called.
how Apple got started, actually.
Come again?
Well, Steve Jobs, he made his first money. He made a blue box that would, by
They
playing
made several different
sounds,
boxes.
by playing certain sounds through the sound system, through the old telephones, you could trick the operator, because there was no operating system back then, or you could trick the telephone into thinking that you did a certain function or put money into the machine or whatever.
He was a phone freaker?
Well, he was a
yes, he was.
salesman. Steve Jobs sold the blue boxes,
Oh, that's beautiful.
but I don't think he was the one who made them.
No,
Not
no,
originally.
no. That was Wozniak.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's how they met, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Steve Wozniak made them, and Jobs sold them.
Yeah.
And eventually they made other boxes. Like they made, I don't remember what it's called, but I do know that they did make a box that could accept incoming calls, and there would be no charge. So
Except
it wasn't. They made
don't
one for
pay.
inbound calls at one point.
you don't pay for inbound calls.
It depends if there's something to it. You don't do it now anymore. Yes, I know what freaking.
No. I'm putting that there so that I remember to put a show note later. Because some people are going to be like, what exactly are they talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, in this case, phone freaking was the method where statute of limitations is over. All right, never mind. People, kids, were able to figure out how to game the telecommunication system and place phone calls for free. Or at the very least, bill them through somebody else that didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. And as expensive as long distance was back then, it was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, long distance was not the killer.
Yeah, if you want to see an example of it that was funny.
Hold that thought one
sorry,
second.
go ahead.
Local calling was cheap. Long distance was expensive.
Long distance, you give off your third born.
But reminding you that local calls were done by the local phone company, of which they were actual local phone companies. Long distance was handled by one of like 4 or 5 different carriers, including MCI, Sprint, AT&T, MCI. There was another one, I can't remember whatever. Anyway, but it was the ones that were in between that killed you. If you're calling inside of your own town, that was one thing. If you're calling 2 towns over, that wasn't long distance, but you paid a goddamn premium on that, and that killed you. Back in the day.
Yeah,
And there's a movie called The Core where a bunch of people get into a machine and drill to the center of the planet. And they harness the power of this one kid who's really good at computers. Now, granted, he takes a piece of chewing gum so he could get the wrapper, takes a comb, steals a guy's cell phone, dials in a few numbers, and then makes a fuzzy vibrating noise with the comb and foil wrapper. And he goes, now you've got free long distance on that phone forever. And it's one of those old Nokia, like what the 3310 looks like.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be from another time period. Back when cell phone long distance was still charged. And I remember when I watched the movie, I'm going, but long distance is free now. So it was kind of made late in the game.
Yeah.
But it's an example of what they were doing back then, except they were doing it with a whistle.
They made all their money now, but I remember way back in the beginning of the internet, there was this. I think it was I forget what the service was, but it was for a new telecom service, and I remember from this commercial, it was a little girl always saying, "Are you ready?" And yeah, the commercial went something like, "Are you ready for person-to-person communications? Are you ready for free long-distance telephone calls?" And yeah, so that was the theme. But I think 2 weeks after it first started airing, they dropped the part about the long-distance telephone calls, because that's back when VoIP started. VoIP, which means basically your voice over the internet.
Found it.
Yeah.
Ad Astra, Cisco.
Yeah, so basically, once they put up the internet structure, everybody's paying for the internet structure through their internet charges. But what they were also doing were charging long distance calls for their just continuing to charge the same price for long distance calls without even using. Well, for about 20 years, anyways, people paid a lot of money they didn't have to.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that. So like I was theoretically trying to, deal with topic-wise, which, I mean, we've still done. One of the things that was in the horrible scopes was specifically about astrophotography and using an SLR camera, single lens reflex, for those of you that really care about that kind of minutia. Anyway,
and there was insurgence of it. A huge amount of people getting into it in 2020.
yeah, the reason why I ended up buying the camera that I did, which was a Canon. I forget if it's D30 or 30D. There's a difference between them, but the one that I had wanted to get was a specific Astro version of their 20, because I wanted to do this. I'd always loved, looking up at the sky, and it turned out that the article that I read said, yeah, you know what, you might not be able to get the 20 Astro because by the time this article goes to press, it might have been discontinued for lack of sales, which turned out to be right. So I got the 30 instead. But astrophotography is freaking amazing to do, even without having a telescope of any kind. Get yourself a tripod, get a programmable SLR camera, even an older one like mine. Mine is 8 megapixel for the images that it takes, which these days is like 8 megapixels. I've got a toilet roll that takes better pictures than that. That kind of shit. But being able to figure out how to do something like that, to take pictures of the moon that are absolutely glorious to look at after the fact, that is so much fun. It is so much fun to be able to do that. And I mean, look at pictures of the moon where that you took the picture and they are as crisp as anything that you could have gotten off of like NASA's own website. Only you did it yourself. And it took a lot of time and processing power and clear nights and doing it at night in the winter because that's when it's best suited for the atmosphere. And I mean, give me a break. It's fun to be able to do. And really, what does it cost you? A couple of containers of hot chocolate in the winter and a tripod and a secondhand camera. And it's still fun. I haven't done it in a long time, sadly, but that's all my fault. So technically, that still qualifies as a hobby. I think I've still got a picture of the moon somewhere. Oh, anyway. So, what about you guys? Is there anything that you like surprised yourself that you kind of like? Oh, this is kind of nifty. I'll give this a try, and suddenly found out, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. Cool.
Oh, just the computer itself already. I think I had a Tandy for starting out. Yeah, because I wasn't from. Anyways, yeah, but just making the computer do stuff. I mean, that's amazing.
Last time I remember making the computer actually do stuff because I programmed it was back when I still had a Commodore 64.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I mean, other
Brigid
than
brought it up in chat. Zork.
yeah, Zork.
Oh,
was,
God.
Zork was.
I grew up with Zork, but you can download it again.
You have been eaten by a grue.
Yep.
It is dark.
They made an episode of Zork where you can actually discover and wear the mask and become part of Gru society.
God.
It was great.
No,
Yeah,
It was
you're
creative.
You're right.
So
it was a lot
I
of fun.
love my games. I've always loved my games. I still do.
Did you know there was a parody of Zork called
Ultima.
Pork?
Yeah, that's it. Jesus.
No, I didn't know that there was a parody.
Parody exists? What's parody?
It's what happens with digital information in order to make sure that the information came across correct. But that's not important right now.
Pork 1, the Great Underground Sewer System.
Great.
Written in 1981.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to say, when the first generation of computer games came out that actually had, graphics and stuff, and we're not talking Atari 8-bit or anything like that, but, I'm talking about the time when Myst came out and, games of that nature that ran on Windows 95. I thought that was huge.
Yeah.
I would
I'll
have
be right back.
never.
I just have to check my BBS for some new messages.
I mean, I am floored by how good graphics are these days and just, what they can do with games. Because I played Myst when it came out, and Phantasmagoria, and what was it, the Gabriel Knight series? Those were good.
Yeah, Myst was one that I never played.
The biggest pet peeve I had was, most of the cool games were put out by Sierra, but they were so bad about crashing. They were so bad about it. It was frustrating.
Man,
Oh,
there's
just
a name.
just before I have to run for emergency.
Okay.
But before I go, if there's an equivalent out there for Myst, if there's a modern equivalent to that, I'd play it in a heartbeat. But I haven't found one.
Yeah.
So if there is one, please put it in the show notes.
Fair enough.
Have you already played Quern?
It's a new one by me.
No, I was asking Joseph, because he says he likes Myst. Is like, wow, have you already played Quern the Undying?
Don't know. Oh, well. Anyway. So I'm looking around for the pictures that I had taken once upon a time ago, and let's see, can I put that over in? Yes, I can put that in the live chat for you guys to take a look at. I had hooked up the telescope that I have, which unfortunately is not functional at the moment, and I had hooked it up with its own because it came with a camera to plug into it so that you could take astrophotography specifically with basically was the equivalent of a webcam, which it was not a great camera, but did the job. I had since picked up the stuff so that I could actually hook up my 35mm camera and then the digital SLR camera to it so that I could take pictures that way. But be this as it may, I gotta tell you, the first time I ever got a good look at Jupiter and Saturn with my own eyes with a telescope, wow. That I may not be doing that now, but let me tell you, that is something really amazing to be able to do. To look at stuff and think, I'm looking at this in a better context than Galileo Galilei did.
Yeah.
And he changed everything for everyone. Even if the line is apocryphal that he said, and yet it moves. Whatever. I don't care. Makes for a good story, but even so, it's freaking amazing.
Even without a telescope, this was, oh gosh, this was years ago when we still lived in Arkansas, but one of my favorite things to do was to pull out the binoculars every night and go watch Jupiter and watch where the moons would move.
Yep.
I loved doing that, and people think it's a little nerdy or geeky or whatever, but it was just so cool to just watch them and see where the moons moved from night to night.
Yep, that's exactly right. The being able to have a decent, you don't have to have like super expensive, but a decent set of binoculars at night will give you an amazing amount of vision, because the physics behind it is, how much do you get to see of the world just through the 3.5 millimeter opening in your eyes? So if you've got a 50 millimeter lens at the front and you're collecting that much light, that's that much more light that you're collecting, and that's a lot. Yes, I actually had to learn the physics behind it so that I knew what the hell I was doing taking pictures. Leave me alone. It's important. Anyway. You miss your telly. I'm assuming that's your telescope. I get that. I understand. I mean, being able to... Well, no, I've seen where you are. If you were, like, zooming in on people and invading their privacy, that's where you are. That's probably... no. No, that would... No.
Not a good idea. No. I just wish we had some good viewing around here, and I'm hoping that after COVID, dies down some more and people are fully vaccinated, see if I can find some kind of an astronomy club or something. But we have so much light pollution here that it's just hard to see anything at all.
Yeah, it's something that really hurts. People don't even think about the amount of light pollution that is really there.
Yeah, I mean, on my bucket list, I still have two items. One of them is to go up to Dalan, and see the aurora, and hopefully, sometime that will happen after COVID dies down, and I can travel again. That's still on my list, and I want to go somewhere out in the middle of the desert, like Arizona, New Mexico, someplace like that where there's no light pollution, and just look at the Milky Way.
That one's going to be a little bit harder to do, but still doable.
I mean, yeah, it's harder to do, but like I said, it's a bucket list item, but those are like the two last things that I want to do before I croak.
No, I can't say I blame you.
And, I've seen pictures of the auroras and, videos and things like that, but I want to see them for myself. Just once.
No, can't blame you. Can't blame you.
So maybe, maybe this November or December I can make that happen.
We can hope. We can definitely hope. Huh. Sorry, I'm going through. I'm going through the various collections of photos that I've got in various locations. I'm trying to see if I've got the the moon picture. I don't seem to have it.
I need to own up to a mistake that I made.
What's that?
I installed Skyrim.
Oh, how are you liking it?
I made a bigger mistake after I installed it.
Oh?
You kept it?
I visited Nexus mods based on a recommendation.
Uh-huh.
Just because, the algorithm for the NPCs to run indoors when the dragon attacks isn't always great. So you might lose one of your vendors or something. So I was like, oh, hey, You should install the Run for Your Life mod. I was like, okay, great. Well, you need to install this other thing, and then there's this, and you probably want to use a mod organizer, and I'm going, oh my god, this is absolutely bullshit insane for one single mod, and then one mod became 2 mods, and it's like, oh, there's only a few weapons. It's like, oh, you need to install immersive weapons. It's like, oh god, it's got dependencies.
Yeah. And having dependencies will really ruin your day if you don't have them all installed.
Just right. Yeah, exactly. And are they up to date and all that?
I feel your pain.
So I only have a few right now. I have the immersive weapons mod, the Run for Your Life mod for the stupid NPCs, and then the book mod, which makes the books glow for the ones that you haven't read yet. Because I didn't realize there's hundreds of books in that game.
Oh, yeah, you could spend like months reading all of the lore books. It's just crazy.
That's what I've been doing. I've been reading the books. I've been going around, and it's like one book will be like 3 pages long, and then you find another book. That one's 12 pages long, and it's all lore. And some of them are like 6 parts, 10 volumes, whatever. It's just like, oh my god! It's like you could go around just reading, like not even play the game, just reading all the lore in the game instead of interacting with the people.
Elder Scrolls Online is 10 times worse on lore.
Nope,
I mean,
nope.
it is just so...
No, I'm enough of a shut-in with Skyrim for one player. If I get into the MMO version of it, I'm fucked.
Yeah, but Skyrim, have you, I mean, just for grins and giggles, have you tried walking around town naked?
No, because I'm playing a female orc.
It doesn't matter. If you walk around naked, the townspeople and the merchants do notice.
And for people wondering why I'm playing a female orc, I'm playing orc because of their racial trait for their rage, and then any female character for that matter, because most of the enemies in Skyrim are actually male, and there is basically a skill or a feature or something, whatever you want to call it. There's a perk you can pick up where if you attack your enemy and your enemy is the opposite gender, you get a 10% damage bonus. So 10%.
I just think it's hilarious if you walk into the vendor to go sell some stuff and they're like, did you forget to get dressed this morning? Or they'll say something about you walking around in your underwear and like, yeah.
Yeah, I was browsing Nixus mod. Apparently, for some people, underwear is too much clothing.
Okay then.
Oh, we got sidetracked. Sorry.
No, well, hey, this is what we do to stay sane.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean, if you go on to Nexus mods, there's how to turn your character into an anime character. There's stuff in there that because in Skyrim, in Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, there is characters that you can marry, NPCs that you can marry, and so I was just like looking at this stuff, going, "Oh my god!" Like, I understand the mods where they improve the facial features because maybe they don't want the features to look so blocky. They want them to look a little more natural. I mean, the game's not the newest game on the market. You can do some upgrades here and there, and some of them do exactly that, where they basically take the marriageable characters and make them high definition resolution compared to the other characters. Okay, fine. If you're going to be making your followers or your spouses a permanent part of your gameplay, yeah, having a better resolution, okay, fine, helps them stand out a bit too. But then they were going to levels of like waifu level, senpai level, and I'm going, oh look, there's the apparently you want to marry a porn star level. Holy shit. I was like, okay.
Well, I just think that the whole marriage thing in Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online is actually kind of cool and forward. You can marry anyone of either gender.
I agree that the fact that they kind of did this functionality of this real life functionality into is definitely interesting, but at the same time, when I'm starting off and I'm trying to escape from Helgen, if you get the key before, if you try to escape with Roloff, and you get the key to the grating or door that you need to get through before he does, you can force him to stand there, and then you can grab a dagger and you can go into like sneak mode behind Roloff, and you can backstab the sucker until your backstab maxes out at 100%, and get like your one-handed up to like 40% efficiency, because the guy never dies. It's like, it's kind of broken.
Yeah,
I know, because I attempted it.
I like the Elder Scrolls Online too, because some of their storylines and quest lines, have, same sex couples as part of the, story and quests. And I just think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Very inclusive.
I mean, I like the customization of the various, like you can actually dictate how far somebody's your character's jaw juts out, the angle, how high or low their cheekbones are, how wide apart they are, the eyes, are they kind of sunken, are they a little bit more outward, are they farther apart, closer together, what kind of nose. You can do the hair, you can do the makeup, you can do scars, skin tones, blush, eyeshadow, you name it. It's kind of there. Body type's not really much to mess with, but that's okay, because they've got the ratios kind of worked out, especially for that time period that the game is in. I know some people want like even more control over that, because hell, they got ruined. You guys want scum is what you want at that point for body control. I'm not calling somebody scum. There is a video game called Scum.
Just checking.
Where you can.
Yeah, have you done any of the Dark Brotherhood quests yet? Those are fun.
I'm getting ready for that stuff, because I'm building basically a rogue archer is what I'm doing.
Yeah,
So
I felt
that's why I tried the broken part with Roloff to see if I could actually get sneak up to 100% and max it out and get like one-handed up to 40. And yeah, I got one. I maxed out sneak to 100 before I got one-handed to 40. One-handed stopped around. By the time I got to 37, I was like, I'm just gonna move on with the game at this point. I'll pick up the rest of it later. So now I'm gonna go make friends with Fangdale and have him teach me archery until I get up to like 50. And then I've already picked up the Dawn Guard, hunt the vampire line. And but yeah, I've got Dark Brotherhood quests, because I want to get the armor.
I had a little bit of an ethical dilemma with that, because usually I play good characters, and some of it was like I'm kind of squeamish about going to the dark side, but it was fun.
Beth,
I'm all for Vader.
Beth, you have yourself a good night, hon. Take care.
Good night, Beth.
Morning.
Oh, good night, Beth.
Morning, whatever.
Yeah, I don't have the problem. I like playing evil characters because I don't do evil things in real life, and I don't really get tempted to do evil things in real life. So for me, playing evil characters is outside the norm for me. It's not something that I would ever do. I get to do the things that I would never do. And I know that at the end of the day, I've done no harm. Where if I were to try to do that in real life, I'd actually harm people, and I wouldn't be able to live with that. So for me, until the games actually start having their own artificial intelligence where they can make their own decisions, at which point then I would probably stop playing evil characters. For me, it's not a dilemma, because again, I'm not actually, I can go back into that game, restart that game, and from the beginning, and whoop, Roloff is there, and I've never backstabbed him because it's a new game. So anybody I've killed, anybody I've done anything to, if I hit reset on that game, they're back to normal. But if it was an AI running the show, even if that AI had to force the characters to run based on personality algorithms, no, I would have an ethical problem at that point with just randomly killing off NPCs.
Yeah, I've got a creative something or other. Fearless knows about it. That's almost all. That there's a very serious ethical thing that I am going to be exploring. I can't. Without giving anything about it away, here's just for people to go ahead and nosh on for a couple of seconds. The ethical question of if you could do anything to someone, anything, up to including murdering them, but you are effectively a god and can bring them back to life again, is it ethically wrong to do it? I'm exploring that concept with the question of what about these people who have learned how to lucid dream? Because consent in a dream is already in your own head, so there is no ethical question of consent here, but what does that do to you if you could do that and experience it as if it were very close to real life? So I'm gonna be doing a really, really weird deep dive into this topic and whatnot. But that's, again, stuff that we're having a little bit of fun with. I pulled up, by the way, Facebook, and I have to thank Dave motherfucking Foda because he posted something that I can't give.
Dave's alive?
Yes.
All right.
Dave's a mess. Dave posted something that, for those of you that understand the reference, I'm expecting people to be choking on their drink. Those of you that don't get the reference, because the Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55, the 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before top dead center. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for the laugh, Dave.
Right
Love
there.
it. Oh, man.
There it is right there. Ms. Mona Lisa Vito.
That is by the way, that movie was actually reviewed
Yes, it
by
was.
a lawyer.
Yes, it
And it was
was.
talking about how certain things that were happening in the movie would happen in real life. And he even pointed out, I was like, wow, that's a lenient judge.
You're thinking legal, aren't you?
I don't know who the attorney was that did it because I watched that YouTube video so long ago.
Yeah.
But it was amazing to hear from a lawyer talking about how out of all the lawyer movies out there, that My Cousin Vinny was the one who got it closest
Yep.
to actually being real.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, it had Joe Pesci in it.
Well, it doesn't mean much.
It's Joe Pesci.
Yeah, there is that. And Brigid, yeah, wow, that is really something.
Brigid, are you trying to tell me that I need to play ESO with you? Is that what you're saying? That you need another person for your clan or your guild?
Again.
Uh-oh.
She's trying to rope
Folks,
us all.
by the
into-
way, I do need to explain to our listeners the reason why I said clan is an old habit. Back when me and several buddies were gaming, they weren't gaming guilds, they were gaming clans, and then it wasn't a long period of time that they were called that because a lot of people realized, oh, hey, negative connotations and all. Guilds, gaming guilds. Yeah, no more gaming clans, gaming guilds. So I had a flashback, kind of like somebody on LSD has a flashback to the 70s, even if they were born in 1990.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to recruit or anything. I mean, I'm in four different
What's the name of your guild?
guilds.
What's the name of the guild you're recruiting for? Come on.
Oh, I'm not. I'm in several. I'm in men in,
She's
I'm in
all-
Men in Kilts, the Black Brother, the Dark Brotherhood, Arrow to the Knee, and the other one.
So you're a
Arrow
clan.
to the knee is the retirees.
So you're a clan
What-
slut, is what you're saying. We get it. Okay, that's fine.
Well, to be fair, the
To be
Arrow
fair.
the
Started
Arrow
watching
to
that
the
too.
Knee is just for fun, and the Dark Brotherhood is, just to role play evil characters, and then the other two are like really big. The Men in Kilts, it's a really huge trading guild. We're like one of the top trading guilds on the server, so it's just to sell stuff and make cash.
Seriously,
By the
though,
way,
Arrow to the Knee does sound like a guild that should have been started by people who are in retirement homes and have nothing else to do. So they hopped into to Skyrim Online and went, "We need to make our own gaming guild." Oh, if I'd taken that arrow to the knee, I would have been a football star. That's it. Arrow to the knee.
Yeah, but Arrow to the Knee is made up of people that are mostly like in their 40s and 50s, and we do have, like monthly events. We put out a little calendar and have trivia night and scavenger hunts and, PvP night, stuff like that.
we're gonna have our own guild with Arganian maids and Baccarat or whatever the hell.
You can do it.
Okay. By the way, one of the things I've really enjoyed. Don't worry, this is actually coming around to something important. One of the things I've really enjoyed on YouTube, because of the way that the algorithm has been working, has been people who are reacting for their first time watching or experiencing different things. Songs from decades ago. People watching Chicago play 25 or 64 live, and they're just like, the fuck is this magic? And movies. I saw someone who, for the very first time,
Princess
saw
Bride?
Smokey and the Bandit and lost her goddamned mind. But then watched, for the first time, Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1. There is something about that movie that I had forgotten about, and I have not seen it in decades. And
Is it the Jews on? Is it the Hitler on ice or the Jews in space?
the Jews in
In
space.
space. We're Jews in space.
What song did that turn into? Does anyone remember?
I do not know.
Sing it again.
Pigs in space?
Yes! Go around the world covered in tights. Yeah!
Oh, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
He used the damn song twice! I never
Son of a
knew.
bitch.
I never knew. He reused the goddamn song.
Belong protecting the Hebrew race.
It's the same song.
We're men in tights.
It's the same song. Now,
Looking
for
fun.
me, that's...
Oh my God, it is!
For me, it's both funny and sad because it's not the only time I've ever picked up on that, because the theme from the first live-action Flash TV series in 1990 was reused as the Batman theme for the first modern Batman movie with Michael Keaton.
Air Journal. Today I learned.
Yeah, right?
God, man.
And I have to say, the first
All
modern...
these years? I mean, this thing came out like...
Yeah.
History of the World Part 1 came out like in the beginning of 1980, right? And yeah, it was like 1980, 1981, 82, somewhere in that time frame. It was in the early 1980s. I didn't see History of the World Part 1 until I think it was like 92, 93. So it'd already been out for like a decade. And I have lost count of the amount of times I have seen that movie. I have lost count of the amount of times I've watched Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and sang all the songs. You know, I love Weird Al Yankovic. I can tell you which songs are what parodies.
Yeah.
And yet I didn't pick up on those two things. Ah, son of a gun.
Okay, so History of the World Part 1, 81. Men in Tights, 93. It took them 10 plus years later to finally get to use the damn movie. And we still don't have a Part 2, damn it, Mel. You're not getting any younger. Which is true, actually.
Well, it's like
gonna
like Spaceballs. Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2.
That's actually doable.
Yeah, well, not in today's climate.
Mm.
Well, I mean, think of it. Going back to one of the dry bar comedians I was talking about, Brad Upton, where he was making fun of Gen Z, right? And he goes on to also make fun of the boomer generation as well, make fun of old people. So he's not just picking on one group and
No,
giving
pick on
down
everybody.
another.
Equal opportunity offender.
Exactly. The guy's actually a coach too, I think track and field for a high school. So he works with a lot of kids. You know, he sees the potential in them. He teaches them. But he also does some jokes and such. And you know, some of those jokes that he does are very what's the word I'm looking for? Innocuous? No, they're not truly offensive. They're only offensive to somebody who is looking for something to find offense in. When you take them for the context that they are, they're funny as hell. This is not one of those, this is racist no matter how you spin it. No, it's like, no. First off, he doesn't make any jokes like that at all. And second, sure, there's a few jokes in there that if you decide to take offense to it because you're somebody in your 20s or you're somebody who's elderly and you've decided to take offense in it rather than see the comedy in it, then yeah, fine, you'll find offense in it. But for everybody else that understands what comedy is about, he's great. I just wish he had a lot more new material. He's unfortunately, as far as I can tell, then again, like the link that I put in there was from 2019, and even then it might have been 2018 that he did the show, or 2017. I don't know when it was. We had 2020 happen, so a lot of comedians ended up packing their bags. But you know, people are getting more and more uptight.
You know, neurologists, neuroscientists, they've actually looked into the human brain, and in a lot of quote-unquote offended people, the reward part of the brain is actually triggered, lights up like a Christmas tree.
What, when they, as in they feel justified for feeling offended?
Yep.
That sounds like a narcissist.
No.
In a way.
No.
In a way.
That's...
You're wrong. You know, you've had somebody, finding wrong in other people. Yeah, I can imagine that, actually. Because in some people's, when somebody's quote-unquote dressing you down, as we used to say in the old school, in the old days, but I'd look at the person doing this, like for some, breaking some rule or whatever, and I'd look at them and I'm thinking, God, this guy's getting off on this, at shouting at me.
The phrase I was looking for, I had a hard time remembering. Persecution complex. I don't want to go with masochist because that's not quite
I'm
the
sure
right
it's
area.
the same thing for the person playing the martyr. I'm sure it's the same thing now.
I don't know that it is or if it isn't. I don't know well enough.
No. I'm not trying to apply this to all cases.
No, no,
but
no.
I mean,
I got you. I got you. But it's
Yes.
just, wow.
because I think because certain I think in certain behaviors, the goal is to assert authority or get empathy or attention and things like that. If that's the goal, then yeah, that's perfectly understandable that the reward system would be triggered.
Man, that is also really kind of weird because that also means that somebody had to have been somebody had to have volunteered to be in an fMRI machine and be dressed down and insulted or
Oh, you
in
wouldn't
some way or other in order to get the data for this.
Yeah, but you wouldn't believe the experiments that have been going on since the 60s. I think there's one notorious one where they took a bunch of students. Oh, there was no fMRI involved, but they took a bunch of students and they recreated a kind of authoritarian environment.
Oh, I know right where you're going. Yes, go on.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe you could finish for me because I just have a vague notion of it. But it ended up I think it lasted a week or something like that, and it ended up in a total role reversal where the dictators became the dictatees, and yeah, and the people who were assigned to submit were just ended up being just as bad or worse than the actual protagonists, dictators, whatever you want to call them.
That's
Anyways, yeah.
maybe
very
that's not the
strange.
one I was thinking of. Just like with you, I've kind of got a vague recollection as to the one that I was thinking of, where it was that students were supposed to have been administering a test to other students, and they were instructed to. I forget exactly how it was to lie about the information that was being fed to, and to basically they were supposed it was supposed to have been to see what the dynamic was for how those in authority would deal with those who were supposed to have deferred to that authority. And shit, I'm gonna have to look it up in order to put it into the show notes. What I remember about it very specifically, though, was that the group that was administering this to see what would happen pulled the plug because it relatively quickly devolved into incredibly unhealthy abuse of authority and power, and they pulled the plug because
Yeah,
shit just
and
went
all set.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah. They were on the point of, by what I hear, they were almost on the point of killing each other.
Yeah, I don't. Shit, I'm gonna have to look that one up and try to figure out which one that was now. God, it's been a long time since I thought about that one too.
Mm.
But yeah, that was going back to the '60s, I think. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, that's freaky stuff. Now, we know full well doing stuff like this is not stuff that, helps us keep our cool and calm and not going nuts, but thinking about these things, remembering these things kind of does, because it helps us put into perspective a lot of the other shit that goes on around. Like, for instance, yelling and screaming at the television when we hear people who are basically using the Nuremberg excuses for stuff that they done. Yeah, that's not going to go over well.
Nuremberg? Oh, what?
Yeah, yeah. People in the news right now who are basically using the argument of, I was just following orders. That's
Oh,
that's
God.
why I went ahead and I killed that police officer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, beat the police officer to death with the American flag because I was following orders. I want to see a judge dismiss that damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we can bring the
wait,
judge
oh,
up on charges.
Now there's a segue. If you saw one, it wasn't the theme today responsibility.
Wait, I thought the theme today was the stuff that keeps us sane. We're talking about the stuff that makes us crazy. So back to ESO. Did you replicate Gardenia in ESO since it's part of Rift?
Yes, I do have my main character's Gardenia in ESO. And she is like a jack of all trades, which is kind of cool.
God, that's me in real life.
Do what?
I said I'm a jack of all trades in real life. That's why I don't tend to play jack of all trades in games.
Well, I mean, I prefer, like the caster, class and things like that. Just, in general, which, she is. But with all the crafting and all that stuff, I have mastered all of the trade skills. All of them.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
It sounds it. And then you get people like me who are very much the I want to be a sniper. And I'm really good at it. Which is really great in Valheim, not so great in Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead?
Being a sniper in Left 4 Dead does not work.
No.
Well, I have this aversion. I've tried to play a tank before, but I have this aversion to being hit. And it usually makes me run and scream, which is not good if you're the tank and you're trying to hold aggro. You can't do that.
I don't know. That could actually be a lot of fun and entertaining to watch.
I would rather either like throw huge fireballs and blow shit up, which is just satisfying, or be the crowd control measure, which gets really interesting because you have to be situationally aware and lock everything down to make sure it doesn't, kill everybody. But if you end up with really horrible players that don't know what they're doing, you can also put the hurt on them.
I've lost count of the amount of times that I have played the healer because
Oh,
nobody else wants to do it, and it's just like
I have one of every class, so if somebody
really not
needs
that
a
hard.
healer, I can pop it out, which is really good if you're, happen to be in a raiding guild. It's good to have one of everything just in case, so they don't have a healer show up or something. But I prefer to be a caster. But what's really fun is if you're the mez person and you have people that keep breaking mez, then you can like get revenge and get those people killed. Which is really good. Or, punish the people and say, if you keep doing this, I'm just going to let your healer die and then you're just hosed.
That's why I'm doing the whole sneak archer thing. It's like, where'd this arrow in my neck come from? Meanwhile, in the quiet corner of the room that nobody's looking in.
Well, I mean, there's just nothing, if you're the mez, there's just nothing more aggravating than to have a tank that is trying to keep aggro and you keep pulling aggro off the tank and getting the clerics killed. There's nothing more frustrating.
Yeah.
And so I would, warn them, so-and-so is mezzed. If you break it, you buy. And they would get 2 warnings. And on the 3rd one, I would just let them die.
In WoW, when I was the healer, because that was always my highest level character, I would be wary of the tanks. I could only heal them so often before it would destroy the aggro that they had.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd actually start timing things between spells. Okay, when was the last time I healed that person? When was the last time I healed this person? How much magic have I thrown out there versus the other casters throwing the fireballs in the area of effect spells? What's the tank doing? When was the last time they did this, that, and the other thing? And it's like, holy shit, it's like, do I need a freaking spreadsheet to keep track of this shit? I just want to like hit something with a lot of arrows.
There were actually, you were talking about add-ons and things, and especially on your MMOs where if you're actually in a raiding guild, there are all sorts of add-ons that come with those timers and keep track of that for you so you don't have to. Really amazing.
The only add-ons I'm using though are pretty much quality of life except for the weapons pack.
Well, yeah,
everything else is a quality of life thing.
But I'm talking like if you were playing, say, I don't know, EverQuest 2 or World of
Oh
Warcraft or
God, no, no.
or whatever big game out there, if you were in a raiding guild, they all have mods and ads where, it'll keep up with your healing timers and all of that. That way you can do rotations properly and not have to worry about it.
No, I got it, but
Makes life so much easier.
at the same time, I don't want to have to anymore.
Oh, you don't have to. I mean, I'm not in raiding
It's one of
guilds
the
anymore
reasons.
because it's too much like work.
I mean, as a healer, it was so easy to get part of a party because everybody's like, okay, heal. But
Yeah.
it was so hard to get them to understand that, look, if you want me to be a healer, then you have to do things for me too. You have to protect me.
Mhm.
You have to let me heal you. So that means no running off and getting out of range and stuff like that. You have to be aware of your surroundings.
Yep.
You have to make sure that the person who's pulling, as the tank is pulling properly.
Yeah.
You got to do a lot of things. I lost count of the amount of times I get added to a group. Somebody would pull a full horde and it's like, oh God, guys, I can't keep you alive for that long. They're going to swarm us. Well, then you're not a good healer. What? Oh, no. See ya, sayonara. Leave group, boom, back to town.
Yep.
And of course, they'd get wiped and they blame me for it. And it was like, you asses are dumb dums.
Oh,
And,
they are.
and they're numerous.
And I usually group with people that I know and trust. If
Right.
it's some random group, I will tell them at the beginning, these are the rules. If you don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna let your ass die. And if they overpull and do stuff like that, then I just let them die.
Yeah, I mean,
I get that.
I was with one group that I thought was very promising when I played WoW, and the only reason I was playing WoW even after getting over my Evercrack addiction was because at the time my coworkers were playing with it, and I was tight with my coworkers, so we played WoW after work. We did have beers and WoW. But I went with another group, and they were promising until the end. And then when it was time to divvy up the stuff, they're like, well, you didn't help destroy anything, so we don't have to give you anything. Excuse me? Team? No? Okay, see ya. And
Just let
That's-
him die.
Well,
It
that's
was-
one of
it
the
was
cool
too late.
things about the new generation of games is you don't have to worry about all this loot splitting and stuff like that anymore. If everybody participates, everybody gets the same reward. And Elder Scrolls Online works like that too. If you happen to go on a dungeon crawl with some people, everybody gets credit and everybody gets loot. It
I think
just
what happened was
automatically goes to your inventory.
I think what happened was I got burnt out on MMOs to begin with.
Yeah. But if you do check out Elder Scrolls, you do have to buy the original game, but it's free to play, monthly after that. And you don't have to worry about kill stealing. You don't have to group if you don't want to. All of it is soloable, and all of it scales to your level, so you don't end up graying out on quests. You get around to them whenever you get around to them, and whatever loot you get from that quest is level appropriate, which is really nice.
Yeah, see, I have Skyrim Special Edition.
Yeah, this is like Skyrim to the next level, and I enjoy just walking around looking at everything and reading all the lore books. There's just so much lore. It is just great.
So to
Okay.
stay sane, we're reading books inside a video game.
Right.
How's that for meta?
Sometimes that works.
Well, I mean, it's not like we're playing a game inside of a game.
This
We're
is
just
true.
reading books inside of a game.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Really quickly, the thing that game-wise that has really had my attention for too damn long, and Felis, we can blame your sister in crime over here, is Valheim. Yeah, it may be early access still, but guys have done a really good job already. So those of you that have got Steam might want to take a look at that and see what you think about that. Joseph,
Is it the one you were streaming recently that you showed me with the boat?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Valheim is the Viking survival game where I got incredibly homesick because I got into a boat and the boat actually the boat actually behaves the way a real goddamn sailboat operates, and I got very nostalgic for being back on the water. So that's for me.
Was nice.
Yeah, Joseph, since you since you're the last one at this point, what last item have you got to that's been keeping you sane before we go ahead and wrap up here?
Oh, what's keeping me sane? Oh yeah, medieval shit.
You should try Skype.
Is that figurative or literal? Because I mean,
I
knowing the
told
way
you
that you
about
work stuff.
Castle. The
Huh?
castle. The history of the castle.
Yeah. Well, I can do a screen share what I'm working on now.
No,
Nope.
no,
I didn't think so.
no. We can't
After
do
the
that.
show.
Right?
No, but I got it open in front. But yeah, always real shit. I'm always doing something.
No, there's nothing wrong.
Trying to
with
make the world a better place.
it. And that's always a good thing.
One pixel at a time.
Well, yeah. See, I was giving you a little bit of heat for saying medieval shit because we know that you've been working on castle stuff, but for you to go ahead and say medieval shit, that's why I asked figurative or literal, because at this point I really wouldn't know what it would have been.
Medieval shit. Yeah, well, it's not old enough to be petrified. So you couldn't put it on your desktop.
I don't think that I would, even if it was.
My science teacher had on his desk, he had a paperweight which was petrified dinosaur shit.
I think every like earth science teacher or kind of geology professor or whatever has the petrified animal dung.
No,
Because even I had a few that had that.
no, you all had weird ass teachers. I don't know.
Well, it was always great. One of the teachers in my later years, I actually asked, why did you do that? Why did you purchase that? Or why did you acquire? And the guy goes, well, first off, I didn't purchase it. I actually dug it up. So it's part of my collection.
Oh,
Because the guy had worked part-time taking rock samples as a geologist. And they were uncovered an area that they were zoning, and they started finding fossils to the point where they even found fossilized manure. And while they were allowed to keep some personal samples, eventually the area got taken over by archaeologists. It didn't turn out to be anything important, but it was some old stuff. And I said, that's not the only reason you have it on your desk. He goes, oh, no. But it's always great to see the reaction on somebody's face when they pick it up before they ask what it is. And then when I tell them, I said, oh, that's cruel and amazing at the same time. He goes, brings a smile on my face every time. Go wash your hands.
Oh, that's actually that. All right, that's actually pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I mean, he was. What year? I think that was actually my second year of college. Yeah, he was a cool cat. He was a cool cat. But yeah, so some people just keep it because they know other people have this tendency to look with their hands instead of their eyes.
It's a good ignorance test too, because I mean, what does petrified mean? It means the original structure is completely replaced by minerals, which means it's not shit anymore. But well,
right.
It's old
but at
shit.
but at the same time, don't
like
forget, some of the minerals in shit are also minerals that are found in rock. So when it comes to petrified dung, it's still potential that some of that stuff is the original. What we probably don't have in there is any of the organic matter.
Probably.
Nothing that would harm you anyway, except from the stuff that you brush off of it.
So let's just say the petrified dinosaur dung on the desk. It's kind of a more elevated version of the plastic poop.
Exactly.
Before it got
It's
turned
no
into
more.
petroleum.
Yeah, it's no more toxic than the plastic poop, which is made out of dead dinosaurs.
Oh, yep, that's a great point. And
And
not without irony.
And that is a good spot for us to go ahead and close it with. Because at this point now, I'm thinking of the dinosaurs that Wash used to play with on the Bridge of Serenity, and now I'm sad. Because there's no
Aw.
more Wash. It will always be too soon. But otherwise, thank you everybody for being with us. We hope that you had a little bit of fun with us. As far as to what to think about, you know what? This time out, so long as you're keeping yourself together, that's all we could really ask for, and that's what we're really hoping for this week. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys again, of course, next week. Joseph, you take care of yourself, man. Stay healthy, stay safe. Best of
Yeah,
luck
you
for you
too.
this week.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably going to be alone until the end of the month because my colleagues were still in lockdown here. So
Yeah, all the more reason, just best of luck. Be
Hey,
careful.
guess what? Chrome's got a new feature now. If you visit a web page, you can have it automatically generate a QR code to share with your friends.
That's old.
It's new to me.
Okay. Fair enough. You have yourself a good night, Tech, or good morning at this point, or whatever the hell time it is at this point. Time no longer has any relevance at this point in the whatever now. So you take care of
No.
yourself.
no relevance, but it's still relative.
Yeah, there is that. You take care of yourself, man. Are you gonna answer me, Tech?
Sorry, I was just looking. I was readily distracted by the link that Brigid said. And I was just like, oh, God, there's a freaking guy on stage telling people to do something stupid with a crowd of people standing around with no masks on doing something stupid, all because he's saying things that make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah, that's the attorney, Lynn Wood.
Yeah, he makes.
I hope everybody in that room gets COVID in the worst way.
I'm
Well,
really
he-
tired.
Because
Already-
some of them may actually learn from that.
Well, he's actually suing now because the state of Georgia has ordered him to have a psychiatric evaluation in order to maintain his law license.
Great. I think a bunch of them need to be. I think this damn whole country needs a psychiatric evaluation.
Yeah, like one of the quotes in this thread, that's some serious DSM version 5 shit going down in that room.
That's
Yeah, they're comparing him to a televangelist, a megachurch prosperity gospelist, cults, and so on. And it's like, dude, they're all the same. They're all feeding from as Robert oh God, what was his name? Damn it.
moving on from the name. What was said?
As Al Pacino said in The Devil's Advocate, they're all feeding from the same trough.
Yeah. But the good
And
news,
no truer statement was spoken by a movie celebrity when coming to religion,
Or the screen.
referencing religion.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit tired of watching, quote unquote, enlightened people making ignorant people more comfortable about their ignorance.
yeah. But in
Telling people to draw.
positive-
Oh, go ahead.
In positive news, Marjorie Trader Green has walked back her America First caucus, that promoted their Anglo-Saxon heritage. So, yeah, she's apparently not gonna go through with doing this America First caucus because reasons.
If you guys want to find out a little bit more about some of this stuff, we will see about being a little bit more active on the various social media circles, so you can see some of the stuff. So Twitter, Facebook, and see what we can do about posting stuff over in Discord too, once in a while.
Yeah. We post on you Twitface.
You twit face, yeah.
Brigid, you have yourself a restful evening, and you try to keep yourself safe this week, huh?
Yeah, I will do my best, and you too.
Oh, I try. I keep trying. Meanwhile, again, for all of you, thank you for being with us. If you were actually in the live chat, you could have been greeted tonight, but you decided not to be. So whatever. So Stephanie, Phyllis, you guys seriously take care of yourself. Beth, I know that you were there, and to go. If you listen afterwards, hey, we remembered about you, but you bugged out early because you're weak, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. In the meanwhile, everybody, please, 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 please be careful. Please be safe out there. We really want that more than anything else. So, in the meantime, we'll catch you all again sometime soon. All of our contact information is available over at holycrapthevlogcast.com, including the download link for the voice version of the show. If you'd like to leave a voicemail message, the phone number is 859-8CTV-554, 859-428-8554. Please, no solicitations. It's really old. Just, no. But otherwise, we'll catch you guys next week. And who knows? Maybe we'll talk about something with some substance next time. I don't know. We'll figure it out from there. But otherwise, in the meantime, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. My lady, still 15 years on, I am still in love with you. Matane Fujin, I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone. As always, good night.